podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Happy Thursday. It is Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app, which is brought to you by our friends at Happy State Bank. I am Clint Scott. He's Dr. Mike Gustafson. We will have the Yates Flooring Center chat line open all show long. Give us your thoughts, comments, questions. If you want to give some score predictions for the weekend, huge matchup this week for the Red Raiders as they host the BYU Cougars, number 8 versus number 7 in the college football playoff rankings. We will tell you all about Twin Peaks. If you've never been over here, great place to enjoy a drink, great place to get some great food. Right now you are in peak sports watching season. A lot of sports crossing over, and they've got all the screens that you could want. You can't look any direction without running in eye contact with the screen there.
If you're not getting what you want here, it may not be on, or you just haven't asked politely.
Have you ever had a place that's like told you no, that's had TVs, it's like, hey, can you turn it to this?
Well, maybe in a 2 or 3 TV situation. Like some people are, you go into a place with 2 or 3 TVs like during the Tech-BYU game and ask for, the Mavericks pregame show, and they're looking at you like, really?
I set up 25 TVs, and they're all on the Red Raiders.
Beautiful.
Hey, can you put this on the Golden Bachelor, please?
Exactly. Could you put the sound on the Golden Bachelor?
It is Tech Talk. We will be here until 6 o'clock, and then tonight it is Red Raider football with Joey McGuire, his weekly show. Very excited to hear what he has to say tonight and about BYU. We'll talk about BYU plenty. Gus, let me ask you this. I like asking you this question around Wednesday and around Thursday. We're kind of in that midweek, almost there, but not quite yet. But what's your gut telling you about this weekend?
Well, it's a 10-point spread for a reason. Does that comfort me? I guess it does a little bit more than if we were a 10-point underdog. But I'm hanging on the idea. I mean, it's really. I mean, in the last 24 hours, maybe the most interesting stat nugget that I've heard or that's been collected around this matchup has to do with BYU in 5 games. Now, that's not a huge sample size, but BYU in 5 conference games being 13th in the league in rushing defense. Yeah. And the reason why that surprises me and is that, I mean, Coach Satake is a trenches guy, and all we've heard about is how big they are, not from him, but we know that just in general about him. The one thing we know about is this is a big collection of players, big on both sides of the line. So if you'd have said 7th in the league, it might not have been as revealing of a stat. 13th in the league? Now, sometimes there can be some game script stuff that lends itself to that, but still, it's never good to be 13th out of 16.
Well, and it just doesn't seem to fit what their MO is to what you're saying, like to their identity. And in the end, their results score-wise have been really good. This is one where you can just kind of throw the stats out because, yes, they've won every game, so you're going to love the result. But there hasn't been a team that's touched 30 on them yet. And I think you're going to do that on Saturday.
Well, that'd be great.
You've done it every game except for one. You've done it every single home game. But this matchup is so odd because it's a top 10 team, like you said. You're a heavy favorite, and I don't disagree with it. It feels so odd to go like, well, yeah, but you guys know that. That's the 7th team in the country, right? That's the 7th ranked team.
I know.
That's a top 10 team, and Vegas is – because Vegas doesn't care. Vegas isn't rooting for either or. They're just setting the line of how they think the game's going to go, and they're going, yeah, 10.5.
It's amazing. Yeah, and we thought maybe that line was going to move a bunch, and it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so far. It's no, there hadn't been any game changer injury news either. In a way that we go.
I thought the L.J. Martin move might make it move a little bit, but I think that's all the confidence in the world saying he might be back. But from Vegas's eyes, well, what does this Tech defense do well? First of all, a lot of things.
Right.
But they're one of the best run-stopping defenses in the country. I mean, they're a top 5 run-stop defense. When you look at stop rate or any other measure you want to, it's crazy. So, and I'm curious too. When you look at L.J. Martin, I think when he's fully healthy, he's a top 3 back. He's the top statistical back. I love how he runs. He's a physical runner, but the question is too. Okay, well he's expected to go. He's going to play on Saturday, but. And I'm not saying this, be dirty, make sure you hit him hard. But like the first time, when it's an AC joint shoulder sprain, which stop me if you've heard that before around here.
Yes.
The first time he lowers that shoulder and gets popped by Ben Roberts or Jacob Rodriguez or Lee Hunter or whoever it may be, does that, is he going to be able to be 100% or at least look 100% the entire game? And we're not going to know that until Saturday.
What's the pain level? Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, that's that a lot of times that AC separation is a pain tolerant situation. Mm-hmm. But just when you think about running backs and pad level and all that, it's a lead with the shoulder type scenario.
Yeah, and he's a physical back.
Yes,
he's not physical back.
Right. Yes, this is not a little scat back dude that spends all of his time running to the edges.
He's not Brennan.
Out of bounds. Say it again.
He's not Brennan.
No, absolutely not.
You clearly have never seen me run around a football field. It's the most embarrassing thing ever.
I've only seen one football play.
I set myself up for that.
I remember before I knew you thinking, man, that little dude's courageous. He's the fearless guy, blah, blah, blah. Now that I know you, I know that none of that is true. And you told me that none of that is true. I'm like, well, okay, that changes everything. I was ready to assign a lot of gutsy qualities to you.
That guy's a puny little weenie boy.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk live from Twin Peaks here on Double T 97.3. It is also a Song Request Thursday, your favorite 2000s jams. We said we would set this up yesterday, too, where if you want to text in your memory of 2008 college game day, how you remember college game day, what stood out. You can give us that on the Yates Flooring Center chat line as well. If you want to give us a score from the weekend, you can do so. And here at Twin Peaks, something that they have coming up, they're going to have a Veterans Day lunch promotion. This is from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So this Veterans Day, Twin Peaks will honor the brave men and women who've served our country. Join them at Twin Peaks November 11th from 11 to 3 for a free Veterans Day lunch. All veterans and active duty service members enjoy a complimentary lunch meal. It's their way of saying thank you for your service and sacrifice. So if you can, definitely come take advantage of that. And, thank you to anyone who has served our country. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Chuck is not there in a blue shirt. That's disappointing. He had other things to focus on for tonight. Couldn't be doing blue shirt activities. Gus, you have the matchup with BYU. You have a freshman quarterback with Bear Bachmeier. I have enjoyed listening to what we do on the BYU side of things and their projections and their confidence and maybe national people talking about this game as well, because we'll get into this a little bit later. You are, in my opinion, clearly just flat out the best game. The reason college game day is here, but still sometimes you go, maybe you should have went over here to this matchup or this one, whatever. This week you are the only top 10 matchup. I think you're a matchup with juice. You have an undefeated team. You have the interesting story with a dominant team with the Red Raiders. But, I'm curious if you got down to it just how confident the BYU faithful is. And from what I've seen, they're actually very, very confident. And you should be if you're rooting for your team, right? You're rooting for an undefeated squad. You don't want to be the one out and about on social media going like, oh, I hope we're within 20 points, or something like, I hope we don't lose by 23.
I was thinking about that when you talked about it, that there was a pretty vocal part of their fan base. But I was also thinking, there's probably some built-in bias with people who are vocal on social media. Exactly to your point and what you just said, like the kind of people who are on there are probably not going to be vocal about how slim their chances are or whatever.
Yeah.
I think everybody involved expects a good game. This BYU operation has figured out how to stay in games and win games all year long. And then you track it over 2 years, and they lost 2 ball games last year. So you do the math. You carry the one over there. It's about like 19-2, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty good.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you a 2-part question. If you, in any way, if it's a huge score and you end up blowing them out, what happened? And on the other side, if it's either a close game or even a loss, what happened? What routes do you think you got to those 2 scoring destinations?
And the first one is if we say them again. If
you blow them out, what happened? And then if it's a close game or a game that you lose.
Blow them out in general terms. Maybe get out to somewhat of an early lead. I'm not saying that needs to be 31-0. That'd be great, but in a way that has them playing sort of left-handed. I've used that phrase. That probably symbolizes like, hey, if they want to be balanced, that it pushes them all into throwing all the time, and that just forces them into one dimension, whatever that is. That might be one pathway. How would we get in trouble, make this a close game, not be able to play the game to some sort of a special team stalemate, meaning we don't give up big returns, we don't get burned on fakes, that kind of stuff, nor do we turn it over, drop a fair catch punt, that kind of thing. Maybe we're not running kicks back and doing all that stuff, but we're not allowing it. Feels like that would be a big part of what BYU would need to shift this game their direction. Kenny Perry talked about it the other day. This will be the best special teams unit, just special teams across the board, broad grouping that we faced. And so that immediately commands our attention. And so and then maybe like they're in the game if there's if we're minus on the turnover game or that sort of thing. I mean, it really has a similar, because we're a little more predictable this year, a lot more predictable this year on defense than we've been in decades. It feels like there's a similar pathway. Like don't turn it over a bunch, like we talked about going to K-State last week.
This does feel like a very K-State approach, even though it's at home and not on the road.
Yeah, and a much better opponent. But just in terms of the narrative, like the beat ourselves kind of stuff. Yeah. And Joey said all year, and you could say that maybe there's some coach speak to it, but Joey said all year, like, we still haven't played our best football. And that's, because there have been some 10 penalty games and some, some of that kind of stuff that just hadn't clicked right. And, even when we've won these games handily, things haven't leaned our way entirely. We left there going, dang it, we're still too many pre-snaps, et cetera. Like somewhere in there, we hope there's the best game of the season. Now, ultimately, we hope the best game of the season, the best 2 or 3 games of the season are in December and January, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Hopefully this is the best game of the season in front of the best crowd of the season on the biggest stage of the season, at least with regard to the regular season.
I think for me, like nightmare scenario, you mentioned part of it because you haven't been like super clean, especially in the punt return game. It feels like you have at least a bobbled or muffed punt every other game. Now that hasn't bit you, and like the one against Kansas State, Coy is the one who muffs it and ends up returning it. But you don't really want to play around with those bounces too much.
Yep.
Especially against BYU, who's been able to take advantage of turnovers and special teams miscues from other teams. The other thing, I think, is like we're focusing on Bear Bachmeier because he's the fun story and he's the kid who came out of nowhere. And we've talked about LJ Martin because, hey, is he going to be able to play? Will he not? Can he be 100%? And then even I think we've talked about Chase Roberts more, who's a big target and kind of your typical chain mover receiver who can be an explosive guy. But to me, if you're looking at like special teams and everything all around, if Parker Kingston has a big game for them, I think that is like the last thing that you want to see, because he has the ability to take a slant 70 yards if you miss a tackle. He has the 100% the ability to make a difference as a punt returner himself if you're not good. And so that's one player I don't know if we've focused in on enough, because to me he's such a lightning strike kind of guy. He's a little bit scary if you're not keeping tabs on him.
I think wind will be a factor this weekend too, Clint. Like the closer we get, they're talking about gusting 15 to 25 in the afternoon. That's going to be important.
Yeah.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
You had to let the best part hit, right? It is a Song Request Thursday here on Tech Talk. We are live from Twin Peaks. Your theme today is 2000s jams. Give us those on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Plenty there that we will catch up on. Thank you for joining us for a Thursday edition of Tech Talk. We're here every single Thursday at Twin Peaks when the Red Raiders are at home. And a massive one. Really, Gus, if you're being honest about it, this might be impact-wise the biggest game in the Big 12 you've had in a very, very long time.
Oh, heavens, yes. Clint, I think
there's just not a ton of top 10 matchups rolling around in the recent history of the Big 12.
No, that's exactly right, and unfortunately, we weren't part of the solution to that
until now.
Yeah, well, they're
welcome. Everybody's welcome.
I did a little rundown earlier this year, and this is just my opinion on some biggest games in the last 50 years, Clint. It's not hard to go right to the Texas game in 2008.
Sure.
And for all the reasons, a lot of the similarities that we're seeing in terms of game day and all that kind of stuff. But the key thing is that was a Texas team that came in here. Two outstanding teams going at it, two top 10 teams going at it. We all remember that, right? By the way, Texas a 4-point favorite in that game. And then a week later, we still had some campers, and we still had primetime, Musburger in the press box game in the Red Raiders' house to OSU. Tech went into that game a 3-point favorite, which I really didn't remember that. But I'm sure a lot of people were thinking, man, they are primed for a letdown after the greatest game in school history. 56-20 their win. But I was thinking maybe go back to 05. Tech fresh off of that horrible loss at OSU that we've talked about. They were, and they basically turned that game against OU into, hey, the winner gets the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
And we won it on that controversial stuff at the very, very end. That was a big game. But then I'd go back to two games in 76. The win over Texas in late October. Tech a 3-point favorite, and that was a Texas team, I think, that had a tie and a loss. But still, we were an undefeated team, and you get to that point, and you're like, are we going to validate ourselves as being for real?
Sure.
Can you get over the hill? And we played that clip last week with Billy Taylor over the top after being stuffed the first 3 times. They win that game by 4 points, the Red Raiders. And then later on that season, about 3 weeks later, the Red Raiders host in Houston. Tech a 6-point favorite, and that is famously a loss. And so I'm not this list is not necessarily games that we won that all went our way,
right? Because
that was a massive game, and that was a game I remember watching as a kid in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, at a time where you got one game a Saturday. I would maybe put the 2013 game against OSU, we had our 7-game winning streak ended the week before. Came home to face number 12 OSU and got hammered. We were 1.5-point favorites. That game had some buzz around it. There was a 6-0 98 team, but their 6-0 start ended on the road, and so by the time we came back, it had a little less juice to it. And then in 77, early in the season, the Red Raiders hosted A&M. That was number 6. But it was so early in the season, it didn't have the build-up to where we are now.
Sure.
And that was a game in which Rodney Allison broke his leg. Tech lost in that season. Ended up in a bowl game, but it was nowhere near the –
right.
We had a lot back from the team that went 10-1 and Southwest Conference co-champs the year before. But, I mean, it's not hard to make a case for this being one of the very, very biggest games in school history. Absolutely not, especially since – a win inside tracks this playoff scenario.
I think that's what is a factor in it is tell me what you do after it. And you can go fair or unfair. Like you can go back to some of those games where you lost and then you look at the result and you go like, well, the result made it not as big of a game in the end. And I think this one is in the conversation win or lose, but especially win. But the caveat to that is you have to take care of business on Saturday, but then you have to take care of business after that on the other side. And I think we can pin it down just getting in that conversation for sure, confirmed, just getting to a Big 12 championship because it's a place you've never been. I mean, if you win it, if you go to the playoff, even more, you can circle back. But then you add in the national eyes on it, which this is where it's unfair when you go to like some of the Rodney Allison days because you just did not have the visibility with the sport from whether it was a big game or not. It just didn't happen, and that's that's unfair to them. But it is a part of the conversation.
Sure, absolutely.
And you put everything together, like you said. I also that it's a little bit later than some of those games.
Yep.
I mean, if you wanted to sit there and you wanted to say this is the most important game in Texas Tech football history, I would not fight you one bit.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, back in the 70s and those days, the Holy Grail was winning the conference and getting to the Cotton Bowl. That's what you're talking about, the Cotton Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Cotton Bowl. That didn't necessarily, depending on what happened, you might have an opportunity, a pathway to get to the Cotton Bowl and then find a way to compete for a national championship. But that back then it was all about rankings. Mm-hmm. If we'd have gone there number 5 in the country and somebody else was number 3 in the country across country and they won their bowl game, we had no shot,
Yeah.
And that's why this thing has gotten so much better over the years, whereas now with a 12-team playoff, there's access points to this thing that make this so much bigger. And Clint, there's no realistic path to the playoff without being in Arlington. I would say no, very little. And I would also say I don't know that there's much of a path to Arlington without a win this weekend. And so it's you and I sit around, and you and I can sit around and sort of draw things up and massage this. And if that wins and that loses, the cleanest pathway into that thing is getting to Arlington. You might be able to lose in Arlington and still get in the playoff if you win in 48 hours.
We'll expand on that after a play of the day. We got this on the 8th Flooring Center chat line. My kiddo is hoping Taylor Swift is the guest on game day. And we have a Raider Alley question we will answer as well. It is Tech Talk live from Twin Peaks here on Double T 97.3.
Podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
We're live from Twin Peaks. Thanks to you for joining us and making us a part of your Thursday afternoon. Hey, there's some rare bourbons that are running through the month here at Twin Peaks, Gus. And if you consider yourself a bourbon connoisseur, then you need to come over to Twin Peaks. They are
love day drinking, because sometimes it leads to night drinking.
They're proud. They're proud to pour an exclusive and extensive collection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, and tequilas. There you go. That's your drink.
There we go.
Including their barrel selects, hand-picked by their team and bottled just for you. Supplies are limited, so check with the Lubbock Lodge here to see what's being poured. And cheers to rare finds, great times, and scenic views here at Twin Peaks. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Brendan Riker back at home base. Jimmy Cook is here taking care of us, too. Also taking trivia answers, just throwing it to him. Shout out to Corey, by the way. Corey was our ticket winner, and it was about half a second beat to get to Ty Detmer there.
Yeah, that was solid. That was a good performance.
This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, you can hit us up there as well. I think Mahomes will be at the game, but my guess for guest picker is Crabtree. History lines up too perfectly for it not to be. I wouldn't complain in any way, shape, or form. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. BYU coordinator mentioned that he believes this is the best defense they will go up against since Texas in 2023. That was a stout defense.
Goodness.
Just interested to get your thoughts on that. I mean, statistically, yes.
Yeah, I can't give it much historical basis, but I like the sound of that.
Well, at least like this regime that they're over there, they weren't. Before they got to the Big 12, they just were not running into defenses like this. They get into the conference, and even then you're not a one of one because you have that Texas example right there. But if you're looking at a defense that's going to get a handful of guys drafted, like that 23 Texas team, bang, a defense that was top 5 in the nation, not Big 12, top 5 in the nation with scoring average and run stopping. Boy, that sounds a lot like that Texas team. A defense that has, might be where you have the edge over that one, defense that currently has the sack leader in the conference, and it's not crazy to think that this defense could have a guy in New York. It's a tall task, but, I mean, award-threatening guys all over this defense. Yeah, I mean, yes, now that I'm saying it out loud, 100%.
Yeah, and postseason recognition all over the place, too. You would imagine there's all Big 12 and All-America caliber players and some of the guys that you're talking about, DNs, linebackers. Let's hope that happens. I think a big key to getting there. I mean, obviously they've put the performance on the first couple months of this season, but this game is so big for all of their reputations and all. And I say that in maybe even in an unfair way. Yeah. Like, if they go deliver a Big 12 championship and a college football playoff appearance, they're going to be remembered in glowing fashion, and many of them have earned that. Now it's just, finish this thing.
By the way, I just wanted to clean something up. The most BYU has allowed this year, not 28, 27 points. So an even better number. It's happened twice. It happened in the double OT game against Arizona, and then happened the last time out against Iowa State.
I would like to think that our offense is better than those two offenses, but one other little postseason award thing I've wondered about, and I hadn't even looked it up to know if it's still going strong or whatnot, but the Ted Hendricks Award at one time was the award for the top defensive end in the country. Surely we would have one, if not two, on that watch list. And again, everybody's not on the same timeline, so we wouldn't have missed it. But if that award's still alive and well, you would think that if it's a vast watch list of 30 or 40 names, or not a watch list, but a cold list, then you would think both of those guys are on there. And if it starts calling down to 5 or 10, you would think that Bailey's in that conversation, because so much of that DN thing is going to be driven by sacks and then just overall team success. Yeah,
I agree. And I mean, you're pretty much, especially when you start with Jacob Rodriguez and David Bailey, they're going to make, and Romello Height for that matter too. I think, especially when you get to some of the line-specific awards, I think you'll see those names on just about every single one. So, I was thinking about this. You said this earlier on the program, and I was trying to think the route. clearly, if you win against BYU and then take care of business on the other side, you'll be in the Big 12 championship. I think BYU, even though it's tough, I'm just looking ahead, I think they're going to beat Cincinnati, and you would have the tiebreaker over both Cincinnati and Utah, obviously with the with like the percentages.
Sure, yeah.
And so even if you lost, I still think you will wind up in the Big 12. Now, you don't want to test that. I still think you'll be in the Big 12 championship game. But if you make the Big 12 championship game and you lose it,
and you start,
I think you will still be in the college football playoff.
If you get there with one loss.
I think if you get to Arlington,
probably can't get that. There'll probably be some style points to that if you lose a good, tight, well-played game versus if you go there and lay a 59-13 egg.
Sure.
So, because
I just can't imagine that would happen.
I'm with you.
But if you get there by doing you lose this week and you get there going like, okay, well, where are all the tiebreakers? Then you have to win it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely right.
So I think that I just think regardless, this game is also huge for.
So what Clint's
taking
saying,
a little pressure off of the college football playoffs. But if you just go win again and just win all the games, you'll be fine.
What Clint's saying is if we split these two games with BYU, I'm kidding.
He's trying.
I don't want to do that.
I know people have been doing the math. Like, all right, if this happens and this happens, and then Utah keeps going here, we can get 3 teams in the Big 12.
Give me a headache, man. And I'm all for the league getting multiple teams in, and it would be great. But I want to make sure that mine is at the top of the list.
I know it. I know it would be good for the league to get to somehow get 3 teams in, but I just don't care about Utah because their fans are annoying me, and I want them to go away. They popped up again.
I think it's probably too clunky for a hashtag, but my hashtag is buy or home game. Hashtag buy or home game.
Well, hashtag more Tech Talk next.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
One more with us here. It is Tech Talk live from Twin Peaks. I'm Clint Scott. Somewhere in the restaurant is Dr. Gustafson. Ask Tech Talk is brought to you by Visual Edge IT. Give us your questions on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. You can also give us your scores, anything like that. We will be live from the Overton tomorrow. And a reminder, tomorrow, if you missed out again on the 2 tickets today, shout out to Corey, we will have 2 more to give from the Overton. Tomorrow we'll be there from 3 to 6. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line from the great Gordo. Dear Clint, how are you? I am fine. Do you think our students will treat BYU fans with respect with all the generosity they have showed Tech over the last few days? Thank you for the Heisman talk that you give us. Gordo, P.S. Please tell Dr. Gus that Gordo says hello.
Hi, Gordo.
It is funny. I've liked the BYU fans since they have been in the conference, and for the biggest reason, they're like happy to be here, and they didn't. I don't think that they needed to.
Unlike their counterparts.
Yes, unlike the other team in Utah.
I'd say their counterparts, but their other.
Mine as well.
They might object to me calling them their counterparts.
The anti-Cougars.
We don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, and then obviously they've done you had the GoFundMe stuff. Right. This week
very
that
cool.
they were being very awesome with. So if you're into Hate Week, this has been a tough one to have a hate for.
And the BYU alumni tailgate, collecting books for Literacy Lubbock.
Yeah,
Very cool. I'd love to know more about that. And I say that in all sincerity, where is the tailgate? Because I might find some books to donate.
Yeah, sure.
But because I saw the news piece and I could have just missed it. But where will they be pregame? Because I would saunter by and maybe make a contribution.
I was trying to think.
New and gently used books, I believe, was what the request was. It's wonderful.
I was like, what's the most annoying or ginned up hate thing I could do for BYU? I did think of one. You remember Tyler Batty from a few years ago?
Okay.
I did not like that guy.
Okay. All right.
That's one player. That's a drop in the bucket there.
An individual player.
Shelly said talkies. Ooh, I like talkies. Am I crazy for not having any nerves at all? Just confidence and excitement.
Yeah, I love that. And I got a buddy that one of my buddies that's kind of angsty on game day, who has spoken with confidence about this game.
I'm
not in a wild, we're going to blow these dudes out. Nobody said that, but just feeling like, no, I think if we play well, we can beat that.
But I do
level.
think you have the ability to.
Yeah,
because I don't think. I think if you play BYU and Utah, and again, every game is different, but I think if you play BYU versus Utah 10 out of 10 times, that Utah neutral field, I really think it would be 5-5 between the two. And so we know you had the ability to blow out Utah because you did, right?
Yep.
I think you 100% have the ability, when you look at what you do really well, to take away the run game from BYU and then pressure Bear Bachmeier and maybe put him in some adverse situations like you have done to every quarterback this year.
Right.
And then look at the offense and go, just keep plugging along. That's been one of my favorite things about the offense. It hasn't always been as explosive as we've wanted it, but with Baron Morton anyways, it has just kept plugging along, and they've done what they've needed to, and they've taken advantage on some big plays. And then, again, it hasn't been perfect, but they just keep doing things that when you're leaning on the defense, when you look at the ending score and you're like, wow, we just won that game by 23 points. Wow, we just won that game by 24 points. Wow, we just won that game by 25 points. And I think that you have every ability to do that again against the 7th-ranked team in the college football playoff polls.
That's amazing to say. And, it's we're going about this differently than we have in a long time, because most of the time in the past, if we were thinking about this, it's like score early and often. Yeah. Keep them in the rearview mirror. Maybe we'll make a play defensively, and now it's like lean on the defense. Don't give them short. Make them drive it 10 plays. Keep the special teams stuff under control. Be great if we win that special teams, but in the past we've hoped for a good defense, and now it's like, and that's what we're leaning on this year. Yeah. It's such a
no doubt.
Yeah, it's great, and hopefully it continues.
This on the chat line: BYU tailgate is going to be at the McKenzie Murcutt Alumni Center.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bullfighter had this I have to read how he put it. Talk Techers. Are there any former Red Raiders playing in the NFL that you would swap with anyone on this current football team?
Oh. Well, the quarterback.
I was going to say there's an easy one.
That's not a knock on Barron, but I think Barron would understand that too.
Patrick Mahomes is the best football player on the face of the planet.
Swap. I want Tyree Wilson in my DN rotation.
Yeah, but
I know. I mean, it'd be Charles Esters or somebody like that.
That seems like cheating.
And that's not a knock on us. I know.
You'd have to go starter there.
I know. I understand. I know, because I would also have room in my running back room for Todd Brooks, but I don't know that I'm, but I don't know that I'm trading a starter for him.
Well, it's like, are you taking Jordan Brooks and messing with the linebacker room? I'm going to say no, outside of Patrick Mahomes, because that feels like it's cheating.
Because we don't have any. I think Tyler Owens the only DB in the NFL right now. Is that right?
You could Taylor Demerson.
Yeah, there you go. You know what? That may be the one. I'd take Demerson I'd trade him for Brendan Jordan, I guess. I assume they're on the same safety side, but I'd do that. And again, that's not really a knock on Jordan, but just Demerson.
All right, Gus hates Brendan Jordan. Yeah, we learned that today at Twin Peaks.
Got that. 552. Mark
no, but I think that's a fun question, because it's really hard to come up with if you were being honest and trying to come at it from a numbers or talent perspective. It's tough to mess with any of this.
Mahomes and the punter for the Jets. Is that it? I mean, is that it? I don't know. That's pretty good, right? I mean, that's pretty good that we're not rattling off this long list.
Yeah. My favorite memory is Lee Corso shooting the guns. Yeah, no doubt.
I wonder what an evaluator. I wonder what if there were real. Maybe Tyree Wilson for Romello Height. but I don't really want to make that trade.
But you could also move him to the inside and say for Holmes,
I got a place.
who's had a
That's what I'm
great
telling
year.
you.
Yeah,
I got a place for him. We'll find a place for him to stand, Clint.
This week's game feels like an SEC game with all the excitement.
Love it
on the chat line.
No, I don't. Yeah, love it.
This on the Yates flooring. Take Izukama. That on the.
Oh yeah. Well,
line.
I don't think he's in the NFL anymore, is he? I thought he. Is he?
It's a great question. I thought he was.
Like I know. He definitely was in camp with somebody. I thought he got released. He could be practice
I don't
squad.
know his.
I could be wrong about that. There's probably room for him too. Again, there's definitely room for him in the receiver room for sure. By the way, Clint, Puddin texted and said Friendship's basically playing for a home playoff game next week.
So win at home,
wins,
lose
they
on the
host
road
next week. Yeah, they're in already, but this is home versus road. So.
Well, you can
Good
hear
work
that.
By you, Puddin'.
You can hear that matchup after Red Raider football with Joey McGuire. That'll be next. Thank you for joining us. Again, one last reminder, a couple tickets to give away tomorrow when we're live from the Overton. Thank you to Twin Peaks hosting us as always. We'll have one more this season, Gus. At least in the regular season. I have no idea what the future holds.
And a big day for us tomorrow. Texas Tech Athletic Hall of Fame tomorrow night. A lot of good stuff.
Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. As always, make sure to come out and check out Twin Peaks for yourself. We'll see you tomorrow live from the Overton. It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.